All right, now's our time to go ahead and take a look at adjectives and adverbs in our practice. Remember our steps, so we're going to find the subject and verb so we can understand the sentence, find all the describing words, then we're going to find the words that are modified by those describing words. Then and only then are we going to worry about labeling adjective and adverb. So let's do those steps in order. Again, we'll underline all the modifiers. We're going to put an arrow to the word the modifier is describing. And then we're going to label each modifier as adjective and adverb. That's the last step. So for sentence number 1, already done for you. I spent this winter break planning my family's summer vacation. So we have winter is describing the word break. So that's why I have an arrow from winter to break. This is describing it winter, or is it describing break? Well, is it I spent this winter planning my family's adventure, or I spent this break? It's actually describing break. So it's an adjective describing break. So again, the 2 arrows here indicate both this and winter are describing break. Of these, we have the word vacation. What's describing vacation? Sometimes it's easiest to figure out a word's being described before we figure out what's describing it. So summer describes a vacation. That's why we have an arrow. Summer is an adjective describing vacation. Families. Interestingly enough, when you have a noun with an apostrophe S or S apostrophe, that's actually an adjective. It's now a describing word. It's going to be pointing to something and giving detail about something. Therefore, family apostrophe S is not describing the summer. It's the family's vacation. So it's an adjective describing vacation. Again, ION words are nouns. Something's describing that is going to be an adjective. So we have an arrow from family is also going to vacation. What about my? My is a describing word. What's it describing? Well, it's describing families. So because it's describing families, and families is an adjective, we have to call it an adverb because families is already an adjective. Like I said, sometimes it's easiest to find the word being described and then see words describing it and work from there. Let's look at number 2 together. 14 states are included on our jam-packed itinerary. So we find the noun states. Is anything describing states? Yep. 14. 14 is, in fact, describing states. And if you don't want to use the greater than or less than signs with a hyphen next to it, you can actually insert an arrow if it's more fun for you to do that kind of icon. But 14 is describing states. Well, states is a noun. That's a thing, right? So we're going to label that as ADJ because 14 describes the noun states. And again, in terms of adjectives, how many, so numbers are typically going to be adjectives, are included in our jam-packed itinerary. So nothing's describing the included. The itinerary, the agenda, what were you doing? Jam-packed. Fun fact, when you have words that are hyphenated, you can treat them like they're one word. So jam-packed. What's jam-packed? The itinerary. Okay? Itinerary. That's a thing. So it's a noun, which makes jam-packed an adjective. Is there anything else describing itinerary? Yeah. Our. The possessive pronouns. Easily forgot, but it's definitely the case. It's not our jam-packed, it's our itinerary. One thing to check when you're looking for describing words, modifiers, if you will, is take out words that are in between. If it makes more sense for our to talk about itinerary as opposed to our jam-packed, that tells you what word's being modified. Because if you take out the word that's being modified, the modifier won't make sense anymore. You'll feel like something's missing. 14 states are included on our jam-packed. Jam-packed what? Our what? Itinerary. So our is actually going to itinerary. Because itinerary is a noun, our is going to be an adjective, and we're going to add a second arrow to itinerary. Again, this would be a little bit easier. Maybe next time I'll do this, I'll have it be a cami so you can draw on it. But we want to make sure we're drawing arrows to what word's being modified. Number 3, our first stop will be the Lincoln Museum in Springfield, Illinois. All right, let's take a look at what we have here. So let's see, nouns. What will be? Stop will be. So stop is our noun. Again, it feels like it could be a verb. In this case, it's the stop, our stop. So what's describing the stop? First, tells you which one. Again, stop in this sentence is a noun, and words that describe nouns are ADJ, adjectives, yep. Our, the pronouns. Those are going to also, is it not our first or is it our stop? Stop is what it's describing. So we have the second set of arrows going there. That's also an adjective, because again, if it's describing a noun, it's an adjective. I forgot to mention to you the directions to skip articles. So we have the here. We're going to skip that one. What else do we have? So we have, well, what museum is it? The Lincoln Museum. This would be a good example of a proper adjective describing the museum. Which one? Lincoln Museum. Question, Springfield, Illinois. Does Springfield describe Illinois, or is Springfield, Illinois a place? Well, I would say it's more of a place. It's kind of like first name, last name. Your first name doesn't really describe your last name. It's just part of it. So city and state, or city, state, and country, or city and province and country, that's all one place. It's all one name. So we'll treat that as those are all a noun and not an adjective. All right, I know this feels tricky, but again, start by finding words you think are describing words. If you don't want to find the noun first, like I did in numbers 2 and 3, start by finding words you think are describing words and say, what is it describing? Again, verbs don't describe anything. Nouns don't describe anything, but they can be described. Go ahead, let's try it again a little bit on your own with some support. Hit the pause on the video for 1 minute and see how many of the modifying words, the describing words you can find in number 4. See if you can identify what you think it's describing, and see if you're willing to go ahead and give it a shot trying to label those modifiers. Go. All right, you're back. Let's see how you did on number 4. Well, you could have found it any direction you want. Let's see what describing words we have. Well, we know that very is always going to be an adverb. So very what? Well, very is describing light. Okay. Now we know that adverbs can describe verbs, adjectives, other adverbs. We know it's describing light. So is light describing anything? Yep. It's describing the traffic. So in order to decide what light is, we have to look at light, saying is describing traffic. Is traffic a noun or isn't it? Yes, it is. So words that describe nouns are adjectives. What else do we have for describing words? Well, if we keep going in order, rural describes areas. Again, is areas a noun? Yep. So again, ADJ. And you're going to see more often than not, we're going to typically have more adjectives and adverbs because we tend to have more nouns than verbs. Anything else in number, sorry for the scroll there, number 4? The answer is yes. Major. Major describing cities. Are cities, is that a noun? Yes, it is. So again, ADJ. Do one more with some support. Take 90 seconds for number 5. Give it a shot on your own. After pausing the video, then come on back and I'll walk you through before I turn you loose to do 6 through 10 on your own. Go. All right, let's see how you did on number 5. Let's see. What stood out to you the most? How about most? Most is definitely describing excited, right? So you have to decide. Excited, excited, excited. Okay, let's see. Earlier on we did excited that ED Is that a describing word or is it a verb? Let's go with, well, what's synonyms? I am excited is an emotion, it's a feeling. I am happy, I am sad. I am frustrated. I am delighted. So those are describing words, right? Well, if it's a if excited here's a describing word, it's describing how I feel, then it's going to be an adjective. Also, my check it, sorry, is to say I am very. Because I am most excited, could you say I am very excited? Yes. Well, anytime you see a word that's very or could be replaced by very, it's definitely an adverb, which means that excited is also going to be an like we said, it's adjective. What's it describing? It's actually describing the simple subject, I. That's tricky. No question about it. That's a tricky one to do. And it's also tricky for me to type. So it's a predicate adjective. Maybe we'll label it like that. It's describing the subject, I. Who is excited or what is excited? I am. So it's going to jump over the linking verb and go back to that. Okay, what else? Well, we've seen our before, possessive pronouns. Okay, is it our nations or our capital? Yes? Tricky, isn't it? Well, let's go with capital this time. If it's describing capital, capital is a place. We'll talk about spelling capital OL versus AL a different time. That works. And then nation, again, that nations, when you have apostrophe S, that's going to also be an adjective. And again, the question is going to be, Mr. Orthwaite, could that also be, could you take our as an adverb because it's describing the nation? Sure. I would absolutely accept that argument. So, is it the most important thing you tell the difference between adjectives and adverbs? No, it really truly isn't the most important thing. The most important thing is that you're finding the describing words and you can figure out which words they are describing. It is not the most important thing. That's why I'm not giving you a test or a quiz on the suffixes. I'm not going to give you a multiple choice, or matching on adjectives and adverbs. Nope. Most important thing is that you're figuring out what words are being described and what words are describing those words. It's about being more descriptive in your writing and your expression. It's not about identifying parts of speech perfectly. So go ahead, hit pause here, and do 6 through 10 on your own, and we'll go through them together as a class or with your teacher. Email with questions as you have them, and good hunting.